All right, Tom, let's get into our latest 2020 NFL mock draft. Joe Burrow off the board, number 1 overall to the Cincinnati Bengals. And then as here you can see, number 2, not too big of a surprise, Chase Young, number 2 overall to the Washington Redskins. But for the very first time, Tom, I'll let you kind of take this because I knew this is your baby and I knew you were excited.
We got trades for you guys. Now, I'll mention this right now. All of these trades pretty much work out in the trade value chart. I know you guys will complain about the picks that I gave up. I could give you guys real NFL trades, and you would say it's not fair to one team or the other. So what I've got here is the Lions going from 3 to 5 and getting a second-round pick in the process. Now, that's not a lot. It actually kind of comes in a little bit below market value. But the Dolphins have done a good job of pushing out, hey, we would like Tua or Herbert. We're totally fine there. So the Lions trade down to 5. You'll see who they get in just a second here. They get a future second-round pick, and the Dolphins can ensure they get their guy if they do believe in Tua. We have mentioned Tua to the Dolphins for a long time. We've never shown what the trade value could be like, though. And maybe Detroit would ask for a first-round pick because the Dolphins have 3 of them. But if there isn't a ton of trade-up interest, Detroit might move back only 2 spots and still pick up a nice premium draft asset. So for the Dolphins, you get your guy. Detroit, you still get a top 40 pick. That does carry value.
Let's go now to the 4th pick, the New York Giants. They're going to go Tristan Wirfs out of Iowa. I like this move. I really like it, especially because you're still trying to build around Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I think you're looking for a right tackle, and Wirfs can take over long-term left on the left side as well. But I like his fit in New York. This comes down to Isaiah Simmons or one of those offensive linemen. So you can take your pick there.
Away pick 3, so now they're on the board here at pick number 5. They're going to go Jeffrey Okudah. Where's this guy from? Earth? I'm not sure.
First off, doesn't this make sense, Detroit? I know you didn't get ideal value trading down, but you still got the guy you are probably going to pick at number 3 overall. So you move down 2 spots, you get your guy, and you end up getting a premium pick as well. So for Detroit, yeah, you would have liked to get that other first-round pick. Maybe the Dolphins stand strong and they don't do it. But in the end, you get the guy you wanted and you get a pick. That is a win for the Lions through and through.
So how many round 1 trades will happen? Throw it in the comments section. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As many numbers as you want. How many round 1 trades are going to happen? I'm going to make this the pinned comment on today's video. So I want you to scroll on down and I want you to comment how many round 1 trades are going to happen. Let's go to pick number 6 here. The Los Angeles Chargers, 2nd quarterback, 3rd quarterback off the board. It's Herbert.
It is, and I think Herbert makes a lot of sense for what LA's trying to do. And I do believe this is a team that is looking for a long-term option at the quarterback spot. I think Herbert can be that guy. There are certainly some issues that he has, but at pick 6, you don't have to trade up for him. I think it makes a lot of sense for LA.
With the 7th pick, the Las Vegas Raiders have traded up, and they're going to take Isaiah Simmons.
We're getting wild here with this one for the Las Vegas Raiders. So here was the trade package that I put together. Does fit in the trade value chart. You can stop complaining about it, guys. I know it's how it always works. Panthers get number 12. So they move back 5 spots. Now, normally, this would fetch about a 2nd-round pick or a late 2nd-round pick. The issue here is that the Raiders don't have one. So they give up their earliest 3rd-round pick, number 80 overall, and a 4th-round pick, number 121. This allows the Panthers to add assets when they need a lot of those. They are trying to rebuild. That defense needs multiple picks. The Raiders, I know they added some linebackers. Simmons can play linebacker. He can play safety. He can play nickel corner if you really wanted him to in the end. You bring in Isaiah Simmons, and now you've got a dynamic and impactful playmaker for really almost any spot on your defense. So, Mitch, you signed off on me trading up for Isaiah Simmons. You still on board?
I said if the Raiders trade up for one player, I think the most likely player is Simmons because Mike Mayock absolutely loves him. Heck, He has talked about Isaiah Simmons so many times this offseason already because, as you've noted, he's not really just a linebacker. Dude's an athlete, and he had one of the most insane combines. I think you could put him at linebacker, defensive end, cornerback, safety. Isaiah Simmons is going to wear a C on his chest no matter wherever he goes, period. So I got a lot of Raider fans that follow me. Should Vegas trade up for Simmons? Type 1 for yes, type 2 for no. If that's what we got to give up, I don't know if I want to give up a third and a fourth, but if that's what the trade value chart says, Tom, I'm going to trust you.
If anything, that might not be enough for Carolina to move down.
Let's go to pick number 8 now. Jedrick Wills Jr. He's going to go to the Arizona Cardinals.
Now, the Cardinals did bring back Marcus Gilbert at right tackle, but I believe that the way that contract is structured is fairly cheap. He might be a swing guy. Wills on the board at number 8. I think it makes a lot of sense. By the way, have the Raiders move up. I think the Cardinals would love to get their hands on Isaiah Simmons if they're able to get the chance.
Let's go to pick number 9 now, the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're going to go Javon Kinlaw out of South Carolina.
Kinlaw, I continue to be told, if he checks out medically, isn't going to make it to pick number 12 or 13. So I'm going to put him in at 9 to the Jacksonville Jaguars, pair him with Taven Bryan as you rebuild that defense in Jacksonville.
At pick number 10, Mekhi Becton, offensive tackle from Louisville, going to be there to help protect Baker Mayfield.
The Browns could be a trade down candidate, by the way. I considered it, but if Becton's on the board, I just think you take him and you slot him in. You have Chris Hubbard. He can play left tackle if you need him to. Then I think they restructured his deal. So Becton comes in, instant impact guy, maybe a little bit more of a developmental guy, but he's such a freak athlete. I think the upside is there, makes it worthwhile in the top 10. I like all three of really the top 4 offensive linemen. I think they're all going to go fairly early this season, or this draft, I should say.
So let us know in the comments section, do you want quarterback prospect rankings? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Now, I'll be honest. I'm always blown away by the amount of information that Tom is able to store in his head. And he's the best in the biz when it comes to NFL draft, literally anything. That's why our shows get so many views for our mock drafts. So if you want Tom to release his quarterback prospect rankings, make sure you subscribe to the channel below. Turn on those notifications so you don't miss the rankings. So go down, click the subscribe button, and give my man a follow on Twitter at What's Going Downy. Let's go to pick 11 now, Tom. Jerry Jeudy, Alabama, first wide receiver. That's off the board.
The Jets could go a couple different ways here. Offensive line still makes sense. Edge rusher makes sense, but they did lose Robbie Anderson. I know Brashad Perryman's there for a year. That's not enough at receiver. Let's try to help out Sam Darnold right now by giving them Jerry Jeudy, a legitimate number 1 receiver for that organization.
Raiders, they traded up to pick 7 to take Isaiah Simmons, which means now the Panthers, they're on the board at pick number 12. And, Tom, I like this pick a lot for Carolina. You're going to get Derek Brown, defensive tackle out of Auburn.
And again, much like the Detroit Lions, this works out really well for Carolina. They get Derek Brown, who, frankly, if they stay in pad 7, I would not be surprised if they picked him. And Derek Brown might not bring the same pass rushing upside that Javon Kinlaw does, but both of these defensive linemen I love. So for Brown at 12, I think that's a great value. The Panthers win again. They trade down, get their guy, and acquire 2 different top 125 picks.
In Chat Sports' latest 2020 NFL mock draft, the San Francisco 49ers take wide receiver CeeDee Lamb. Scary.
Now, Jerry Jeudy was off the board in this scenario. So I went with CeeDee Lamb instead. And I got to be honest, I strongly considered Henry Ruggs here as well. But we're going through different scenarios. That's the whole point of a mock draft. So let's mix it up here. Lamb goes 13 to San Francisco, and he brings them a little bit different type of receiver. He is going to thrive after the catch, contested catch situations. He's not the same separator that Jerry Jeudy is. But Lamb wins in so many ways, both vertically in the short area, contested catch after the catch, that I have to believe Shanahan would love to get him on his roster. So with Jeudy off the board, I went with CeeDee Lamb very narrowly over Henry Ruggs here at number 13 overall.
Go to pick number 14 now. Andrew Thomas, offensive tackle from Georgia, going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
The Bucs have got to help out Tom Brady. They are clearly all in right now. So you can maybe go Henry Ruggs if you want to get wild with it on offense, but you also got to protect an older, slower Tom Brady. Andrew Thomas has kind of been the forgotten man for a lot of people among those big four offensive linemen, but I do really, really like his fit with the Tampa Bay Bucs at 14.
Denver Broncos, they're on the clock now at the 15th overall pick. They're going to go speedster Henry Ruggs III.
I wouldn't be that surprised, by the way, folks, if Denver tries to move up for Henry Ruggs in the NFL draft. I do think that there is a real chance that Henry Ruggs is the first receiver taken. If he gets to 15, I don't think he's going to last at all beyond that. I think Denver will jump all over him.
So I think when you talk about the big three wide receivers, it's CeeDee Lamb, it's Jerry Jeudy, it's Henry Ruggs. But we want to know from you, who's the best wide receiver in the draft? So if you think it's CeeDee Lamb, type L for Lamb. If you think it's Jeudy, type J. If you think it's Ruggs, type R. Tom, what are you typing?
Look, I think all of these answers are correct. They're all fantastic prospects and receivers. I'm going to go with CeeDee Lamb, but I'll let you guys in on a secret. All three of these guys have round one grades for me. Like, that's how highly I think of each player with their different strengths and weaknesses.
Let's now go to the Atlanta Falcons, who are on the board here, and they're going to take cornerback C.J. Henderson, who had an incredible combine.
The Falcons are looking for a number one corner. I believe that Henderson could be that guy. I think this might be a floor area for a Derek Brown or Javon Kinlaw. But Henderson at 16, I like that fit. I like that need. I like that range for him and for Atlanta.
In Chat Sports' latest 2020 mock draft by Tom Downey, he has the Dallas Cowboys at pick 17, taking K'Lavon Chaisson, edge out of LSU.
Board did not fall the way I think many Cowboys fans hope that it does. Henderson was off the board, both defensive tackles off the board, all three receivers off the board. So for me, it comes down to K'Lavon Chaisson, who I know that the Cowboys are banking on Tyrone Crawford. They think they're going to get Randy Gregory back as well. I don't know if you really want to just bank on those two players. I think that's a bit dangerous across from DeMarcus Lawrence, and you could bring in K'Lavon Chaisson as that third down pass rusher in year one when Crawford kicks inside if you choose to keep him. He was the best player on the board for me at, a remote position of need for the Dallas Cowboys. I know he only had 6.5 sacks. I've tried to make this really clear before. Do not base everything on sack totals. Those are very inconsistent. They don't always indicate how impactful a player was. Chaisson is impactful. He is a good bendy edge rusher. I like K'Lavon Chaisson a lot. I think at 17 overall, it's a worthwhile pick for the Dallas Cowboys.
So I know a lot of people, they're not in school obviously right now, so we're taking you to school here on Chat Sports. We want you to grade the pick. K'Lavon Chaisson of the Dallas Cowboys at 17 overall. A, B, C, D, or F. Tom, for me, it's a B grade for me, but they also didn't have the players that were on the board that I think you've seen in some other mocks.
Yeah, I went with a B here. I'll tell you what, I strongly considered trading down here for the Dallas Cowboys, and I see that coming into the comments. Maybe we'll do a Cowboys trade down mock draft here later on this pre-draft process.
At pick number 18, the Miami Dolphins, they're going to go Josh Jones after trading up to pick number 3 to get Tua.
Yeah, they got to protect Tua Tagaovailoa. Jones, the best tackle left on the board. Maybe you try and gamble, wait for him to get to your other first-round pick, but I think it makes sense here at number 18 overall. I think that makes a lot of sense for the Dolphins, finding players who can help protect your new franchise quarterback.
Trade alert in Tom's latest mock draft on our main Chat Sports channel. The Raiders, they're trading down because the Vikings, they want to trade up at pick number 19. The Raiders get another third-round pick, 105 overall.
So Raiders start to recoup some of their losses from the Isaiah Simmons trade. We'll see what they get in a little bit. Minnesota makes a lot of sense as a trade-up candidate for me because they have so many assets to play with. And with the Raiders themselves, the Jags, and even the Eagles too, having interest in a cornerback, I'll be aggressive for Minnesota. I'll have them go up and get Jeff Gladney, the type of corner I think that team is really going to end up liking, and they certainly need corner help. They don't have a whole lot going on there. Maybe you can bank on Holton Hill, Mike Hughes, but that's a team that loves to get corners. Now they have a giant need for one.
Speaking of corners, the Jags, they're also going to select a corner. Christian Fulton, 20th overall. Tom, I'll be honest, I was surprised to see Gladney go above Fulton.
I think that I am higher on Christian Fulton than the NFL is. I'm going to still put Fulton in round 1, but Gladney is a really good corner prospect, and just from the buzz I've heard that Fulton might actually be that surprise back end of round 1 guy, even though I personally like Fulton more than I like Jeff Gladney.
So grade the pick, A, B, C, D, or F. You can see it below. And I got an A-plus deal for everyone watching right now. Chatsports.com/NFL hoodie. These deals up to 50% off your favorite team and the favorite hoodie. Now, Tom, I'll be honest. I love Hoodie Mello. I don't know if that picture is Hoodie Mello, but I bet you one thing. Mello would buy these hoodies because of how great this deal is. Chatsports.com/NFL hoodie. If you can't remember the link below, we'll put it in the comments. We'll put it in the description below. I understand spring's right around the corner, but I'm from Central PA. You can wear a sweatshirt basically 10 months out of the year. Chatsports.com/NFL hoodie. Deals up to 50% off. Speaking of Pennsylvania, let's go to the Eagles now. They're going to take a wide receiver out of LSU, Justin Jefferson.
Plug him in the slot. He's a massive upgrade over Nelson Aguilar for Philadelphia. I like the fit of Jefferson in Philadelphia. The tricky thing for me is after those big 3 receivers, it gets tough to figure out exactly what the order is going to be. Maybe it's Jefferson, but there's like 4 or 5 guys that make a lot of sense in terms of who's the next receiver taken.
With the 22nd pick in Chat Sports' latest mock draft, the Raiders, they're on the clock because, well, they traded down with the Minnesota Vikings. So, Tom, at pick number 22, the Las Vegas Raiders, who do you got them drafting?
Well, I got them taking Denzel Mims here at number 22 overall. And, Mitch, I'm going to throw a little bit of the credit to you here. I asked you, who would you go with? This is how the board went. You leaned Denzel Mims or T. Higgins, and I gave you Denzel Mims instead.
I think when you talk about going out and getting a potential number 1 receiver, listen, I know the Raiders love Clemson players, okay? So would it surprise me if they went out and got a T. Higgins? No. But I also know this. They love Denzel Mims, and they love his ability just to be an absolute freak wide receiver 1. Now, I don't know if he's ever going to be the hype that he could live up to, but if you want to roll the dice on a player who I think could actually be a top 10 receiver in the league, it's Denzel Mims. I don't think it's T. Higgins.
If you're drafting for a potential true number 1 guy who could be a maybe not top 10, even top 15, top 20 receiver, if you want to go with the higher upside player, that is Denzel Mims. They do some similar things, but Mims, plain and simple, just is a way better athlete. And I'll let you guys in on a secret. Athleticism tends to matter in athletics, and I think that's why Denzel Mims might legitimately go before T. Higgins in the NFL draft.
So we want you to grade the Raiders mock draft. So remember, they traded up to pick 7 to get Isaiah Simmons and traded back to pick 22 to get Denzel Mims. So would you give it an A, a B, a C, a D, or an F? Dom, I'm going to throw another B in there. What are you giving it?
Of course I did it. I'm going to give it an A mock there. So you are welcome.
Grade the mock for the Raiders, fans. A, B, C, D, or F. If you don't like it, you can yell at me on Instagram at MitchellRyan365. But you definitely should yell at Tom on Twitter at What Going Down. At pick 23, the New England Patriots, they're going to go A.J. Epinesa, which this has been a pretty common one for you for New England.
I know the Patriots fans want a receiver or a tight end, and I totally get that, although there are no tight ends worth taking here. But I hate mocking for the Patriots because they never do what I think they're going to do. So I'll give them a player that I know they will love for their scheme. That is A.J. Epinesa. Think of him as a Trey Flowers for you guys. I think he'd be a good fit in New England.
Go from New England to New Orleans. Kenneth Murray, linebacker out of Oklahoma.
Saints need a backer. Kenneth Murray's the best one on the board. I know some Saints fans might want the LSU kid, Patrick Queen. I think Murray makes more sense, though.
At pick number 25, the Minnesota Vikings, they need to be able to replace Stephon Diggs. Laviska Shenault Jr., he's your guy.
I don't know what's going to happen to Shenault because of the medical. If the medical checks out, he's going to go in round 1. If it doesn't, this might end up being a T. Higgins instead.
At pick number 26, the Miami Dolphins, they're going to go Cesar Ruiz, offensive lineman from Michigan.
Got a tackle in Josh Jones. You're looking for some interior offensive linemen. Cesar Ruiz is the best interior lineman in this year's draft class. I like his fit for the Dolphins.
Got a trade alert. The Indianapolis Colts have traded up with the Seattle Seahawks to get the 27th overall pick. They will also get the 4th round pick, 144 overall. The Seahawks in return, as they always do, kind of trade them back, getting some extra picks there. They get a 2nd rounder and a 3rd rounder. So the 27th overall pick in Tom's latest mock, the Colts are going to go Jordan Love. Talk to me about this.
I got them their franchise guy. I know the Colts like Jordan Love. You still have your other 2nd round pick. You can take a receiver there. Seattle always trades down, so I'm just going to always mock them to move down. That's just how they operate. Frankly, I like the way that they operate on that front. The 3rd round pick was a little bit too much on the trade value chart in the end, so I included a 4th going back to the Colts to try and even up a little bit. It's a super late 4th round pick. It's really almost a round 5 pick. So Seattle moves down. They'll get to their pick in a second, and the Colts get their franchise quarterback long term to develop behind Phillip Rivers for a season.
At pick number 28, the Baltimore Ravens, linebackers, makes sense. Patrick Queen.
They need a linebacker. I think Queen is a good fit for what the Ravens want to do. He's a really good athlete there. That Murray Saints pick and Ravens Queen pick, I don't know how much I'm going to change that here going forward.
With the 29th pick in our latest mock draft, the Tennessee Titans are going to go Yetur Gross-Matos out of Penn State.
Now, they brought in another edge for a year, but they still need a long-term answer. I think Gross-Matos can be that guy for Tennessee. I also strongly thought about an offensive tackle here.
The Green Bay Packers have a major need at wide receiver. They got to put somebody next to Devontae Adams. So you see them going with Jalen Reagor out of TCU.
Yeah, Reagor is a different player than some of the guys they have on this roster. They remember they brought in Devin Funchess for at least a year. So I thought about T. Higgins here. And Higgins, I would not be surprised again if he went round 1. I got a lot of receivers in there. I know you guys are yelling at me about other ones. But for Reagor in round 1, he brings them a little bit more juice, especially out of the slot. I think Green Bay could use that. Maybe they actually use Funchess for a season, but I think Reagor would be a really good fit in Green Bay and with Aaron Rodgers.
Start playing the trade music because we got another trade. The LA Chargers have traded up with the San Francisco 49ers, so now they're on the clock at pick 31. They also get a 4th round pick, which is 112 overall. The 49ers, they get that 2nd round pick, 37 overall.
Yeah, obviously I goofed up there. That 4th round pick is supposed to go to San Francisco. Yep. My bad, guys. But the Niners trade down. They need to add extra assets there. And the Niners, by the way, could maybe end up getting Trevon Diggs, by the way. As for the Chargers here, they give up that 4th round pick to move up into round 1. They got their quarterback. Now they have to protect him. So I got them taking Austin Jackson out of USC. This came down to Ezra Cleveland or Jackson. I went with Jackson on this one. It's close for me, but you got to protect your quarterback. And I think in that late round 1 range, that early round 2 range, you want to get ahead of the Bengals, for example. Chargers move up to make sure that they acquire their guy.
With the 32nd pick in Chat Sports' latest mock draft, the Kansas City Chiefs, they're going to go with Xavier McKinney, safety out of Alabama.
This is very different for the Chiefs, so allow me to try to explain it. I know it doesn't really fill a need because you got Tyrann Mathieu, you have Juan Thornhill, but the Chiefs last year moved all those guys around. Kendall Fuller played plenty at safety as well. I would have loved a linebacker. I didn't love any of the guys on the board there. You know, I don't think that the defensive end class is really great for what they're looking for at the moment. So you bring in McKinney, and you can move him almost as a linebacker, as a safety. You could move Juan Thornhill to corner, which is an option as well. So for the Chiefs, you get a versatile chess piece there at the back end of round 1. By the way, for Kansas City, I do think a trade down is a real possibility as well. So I know McKinney's an unusual pick for the Chiefs, but if you can use him as a chess piece, I think it actually makes quite a bit of sense.
Speaking of chess pieces, if you want to go follow the king of draft content, it's Tom at What Going Downey. So here's some teams without first-round picks Tom, walk me through some of these and why you had them taking these players.
Yeah, we'll start with the Seattle Seahawks here. This was part, again, their trade down earlier to acquire more assets. I don't know what Seattle does. Quite frankly, folks, I hate mock drafting for them. I never get it right because they do crazy stuff like, take Rashad Penny when they don't need a running back, and now he's barely playing. So I know they brought back Jaron Reed. They have Poona Ford. One more interior pass rusher. I think Gallimore could be that guy for them. Zach Bond goes to Houston. I actually like Bond a little bit. I think he's going to be an edge, someone to play him as an off-ball linebacker, but I think Bond fits what the Texans need. They got to get a pass rusher. So if he's there at 40, I think that's a really good value for the Houston Texans. All right, number 43 overall, then the Chicago Bears, Damon Arnett. Look, the Bears have not properly replaced Prince Amukamara. They don't really have a number 2 corner. It's not Artie Burns, guys. I'll let you on a secret there. Now, Arnett is not the caliber of athlete that the other top corners of this class are. That's just not who he is. But I think he can be a reliable, quality number 2 option. So for the Bears picking in round 2, you could go guard, you could go corner. I'll give them a corner here. Of course, they can get a guard later on as well. But I think that makes sense for Chicago, finding that option to pair with Kyle Fuller on the outside.
At pick number 49, you got the Pittsburgh Steelers taking Lloyd Cushenberry III. What a great name.
Yeah, played center at LSU. I think he can play guard, though, in the NFL. And Pittsburgh, they've dealt with some losses this year. Ramon Foster retired. That's a big-time issue. Cushenberry can come in and be a starting guard for them. There are a couple different interior offensive linemen I think have a pretty good chance of going in round 2. So I like that pick for the Steelers there. And then the Rams, look, you brought in Leonard Floyd for a wildly ridiculous amount of money. You lost Dante Fowler. And you ended up losing Clay Matthews because you cut him. Josh Uche comes, another guy that I like, actually more than Zach Bond. I know I'm crazy for that, but I love Uche's fit in LA.